Greetings, Zogling, Wigger, and Mams or Ass Clowns across the another Zog playing here in the open air, coast to coast nut house we call Zog Babylon the third and the final. But I'm mainly talking to Missouri Zoglings because I am running as a write-in candidate for United States Senator here. It's Thursday, I think September 8th. It is a cool early evening, late afternoon. And I just got off the phone with Tattered Flag from England. And Tattered Flag is a notorious troll who used to just love the talk shows here. I told them I'm doing a few of these Mad Dog Musings here. You know, this is what it is. Mad Dog Musing. And pretty well the title of this will be Pepi II, Ramesses II, Elizabeth II, and the harbingers of the late ZOG-Age collapse. Now, Pepi II was the last major king of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, which was the initial, the fourth dynasty built the pyramids. The first dynasty, united upper and lower Egypt. And upper is, toward the desert, and then the lower Egypt is the delta here. And they, Pepi II reigned, depends, either 60 or 90 years, and died, close to the age of 90-something or 100. Ramesses II was the last major king of the New Kingdom, as opposed to the Old Kingdom. The Old Kingdom, just a few years after Pepi II's long reign, it collapsed. In the case of the New Kingdom under Ramesses II, he reigned for 60-some years and died at the age of 90-something, sort of like Queen Elizabeth II. And soon after, ancient Egypt entered a period of decline, which was sort of beat back by a couple of years, about 20 years later, by Ramesses III, who managed to defeat the Sea Peoples in the, at the beginning of the, at pretty well the end of the late Bronze Age collapse. So Elizabeth II reigned 70 years, died at the age of 96. And so we have now what I call the harbinger of the late ZOG-Age collapse. ZOG being the Zionist-occupied government, wherein we are ruled just like we were, around what? From about 1800 to a little bit less 1800 to about 1550 BC. By these Hyksos pharaohs who were Amorite Canaanite Jews. So, same thing here. We have a late ZOG-Age collapse, and just like late Bronze Age collapse was, I think the basis was a shortage of tin. Well, we have a shortage of cheap, affordable fossil fuel. Caused by idiots, green idiots who worship Gaia or whatever, who are essentially just Bolsheviks. Mostly Jews, who are doing the same with what has kept the mighty evil Zog Empire afloat here is, cheap, plentiful oil here. So in both cases here, Pepi II, you had a little bit of climate change, as the earth got actually cooler and drier. Why about the greenhouse gas here? No, global warming, and more carbon dioxide is good. It's good to be wetter. Getting colder and drier is what causes catastrophes like the Black Plague and all this, all this other stuff here. So, in both cases, you end up having a long reigning ruler who rules on and on and on. And by the time he gets in his senescence here, He's no longer an active young ruler able to do new things or think new thoughts. What he is, he hangs on, or she hangs on forever and ever and ever. And the world in which, in her dotage is not the same world when she was young and vibrant and was able to think new thoughts here. And because these rulers are viewed as semi-divine, you can't just simply do away with them or, make them retire. Queen Elizabeth said, and just, this English man, that I talked to agreed that probably she should have just simply resigned after she celebrated her 70th year and had a couple months to, pretty well have a co-regent, i.e. her son Charles. That would have been better. That would have been much better. But in both cases, in the case of Pepi II, as he got older and older, the nomarchs, or the governors, there were about 40-some different little, governorships along the River Nile, and the nomarchs in his dotage became stronger and stronger. So by the time he died, you had weak pharaohs who really, you had a situation like I'm thinking you're going to end up having warlords here. In case of Ramesses, he reigned so long that his successor was not his first son or oldest son, or his first oldest 12 sons. It was his oldest 13th son who came to the throne in the 70s and reigned 10 years. Sort of like Charles, right? Ramesses II, sort of like Charles III. So that's what you end up having. You end up having a ruler who sticks on longer than he or she should have. And by the time she's in her dotage, she's still an effective queen. But her time has long since passed here. And in many cases, she acceded to the slow, steady decline. Just like Pepi II, like Ramesses II, so too was Elizabeth II. So, that is, what you end up happening here. It's just simply inevitable here. Today's death of Elizabeth II will be marked as an exclamation point here. What, just like Rome was in a bad shape here for, various times, it just had crisis after crisis after crisis, and the standard of living went down lower and lower and lower. And that's why I was telling Tattered Flag here. That's the name of the consumer content and trolls here. He's quite interested. He says he's going to come visit me here, and I'll give him as good accommodations as what Fat Kite got. But anyway, this is not a room at the Ritz here. But no. That's what you have, is you have a steady decline, which goes on and on and on. And then you end up having an exclamation point. And I'd say the death of Elizabeth II here will be an exclamation point to the late ZOG-Age collapse. Anyway, I finally emailed my September 3rd response to Judge Bridget the Idiot of Stanley County and Brian Reel's lawyers. Pretty well Brian Reel, as pretty well head of the Zog-Bot Poverty Law Center Foundation for the Marketplace of Ideas, as a major provocateur, has been allowed to take the inheritance of, the head of the Aryan nations. I really am the head. of the Aryan nations in terms of being the political arm for what is a racial and religious white supremacy organization. And I held off over the weekend because I wanted to enjoy the Labor Day weekend. But yes, I call for the castration of regime criminal sons. You know, the turning their daughters into walking wombs. You destroy the current Zionist-occupied government order. It shouldn't be around. It shouldn't exist. It should be destroyed. But in any case, and it will be. I was talking to Tad Flagg about conditions in England, about how they have gotten involved in a war which they really shouldn't have in order to dominate the Russians. It hasn't worked out very well. It's not going to work out very well. So anyway, you end up having a late ZOG-Age collapse. And the thing about living in not so Great Britain is that you have, 80-some million people stacked on an island which is about the size of a Midwest, of a mid-sized American state. Not Montana, but more like, probably Great Britain would fit inside the state size of Missouri here. And so you have them packed, and they're no longer mainly white here. The Londonistan is minority, English. And I had to laugh here is that they didn't have Meghan Markle there, you know what I mean? And what would be funny if something happened to all the English, Anglo-Semites here who are presently ruling as the royal family. Instead, what you had was the Anglo-Niglet, Queen Elizabeth, the third, the royal she-niglet, the Queen of a rump England. Pretty well island reduced to about 10 million. I went ahead and point out is that the movie 28 Days Later is far more horrifying than The Walking Dead. What The Walking Dead is, you have the zombies in the back here, but is the interaction between the warlords, be it Prick and the governor, Prick and Negan, Prick and the Whispers came later here. But the interaction between warlords is what made The Walking Dead, the survivors, so interesting. And like Ted Flagg said, we're about to live in interesting times. So anyway, this is Pastor Martin Linstead. I think it's the 8th of September, 2022, the death day of Queen Elizabeth II, Pepi II, Ramesses II, because really, they're so interconnected. They're so the same. And at the end of the reigns of these long reigning monarchs, they sucked out all the energy, and their governments, their regimes, their cultures were sort of tied into it for so long, and that when they were dead, their cultures died with them too, or was dying with them too. Same here. So anyway, go ahead and you can send some ZOG bucks to Pastor Martin Linstead, 338 Raptrack Road, or P.O. Box 666, which is the safer bet here, Granby, Granby, Missouri, 64844. And until tomorrow, maybe, or later, hail victory.